Hey there, welcome to my video. This is Laura Lynn with Keep Inking Up. I'm an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up in San Antonio, Texas. And today I wanted to share a tip with you that I've been using quite a bit lately. I used it on this card. This is one of my favorite cards I've ever made. And if you'll notice in the background, there is a layer of an embossed piece that is on top of the Scalloped Contours rectangle that's behind there. Hopefully you can see that. Can you see those two layers? Anyway, I wanted to share a tip on how to get these two layers just right. So you can do this technique with any dies that have like stitching or dots or something. In this card I used the Scalloped Contours dies, but you could also use the Stitched So Sweetly dies because they have rectangles with stitches as well. And what I'm trying to do is just to create an inner layer for the here, let me give you an example. This is an example using the Stitch So Sweetly dies. So I wanted to share how I got this layer that is perfectly sized for the inside of the the scalloped layer. Now the reason why I want to do this is ever since I got these dies, I've been wanting to have this layer in here, whether it's a piece of a designer series paper or a stamped piece or an embossed piece like this example. And every time that I would go to do that, I would take out my die that I cut, and then I would try to use my ruler and I'd try to measure and try to get equal distance, and I would measure it and try to cut the piece of cardstock to fit exactly right. And I was never smart enough to write it down. That's bad on my part. But anyway, I struggled with it, but I always wanted to do this. So the other day when I was creating this card, actually, I remembered the tip that I shared recently that I received from Martin Stone about trimming sentiments tight and close using your paper trimmer, and I thought, oh, why can't I do that same technique with this and take a lot of the guesswork out and not have to use my ruler to do any measuring. So that's the tip that I wanted to share with you today. So let me go ahead and get these out of the way. I have some samples to share with you at the end too, so stay tuned to the end of the video and I'm going to share some examples of how to do this. So what I've done is I have cut two pieces. I've cut, and it doesn't matter if they're out of cardstock or designer series paper or whatever that you would like. My example that I shared with you was white on white, but I thought that would be hard to see on video. So in my example, I'm going to use two pieces. So I've used the Scalloped Contours dies and cut out one piece out of Smoky Slate and one piece out of the designer series paper. And I want to layer this piece inside the dotted lines of this piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer. And again, this uses the same idea that I shared with the sentiment trimming. So I'm going to set this aside and I'm going to trim the designer series paper one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that in my paper trimmer. Let me see if I can do this. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit so you can see. What I want to do is I want to line up these dots with the edge of the plastic of the guide here. So I have that lined up like that. Can you see that? I don't know if I can't zoom any more than that, but I have the plastic line lined up with the dots, and now I'm going to trim. And hopefully you can see that little bit right there that I trimmed off, and I'm going to do the same on all four sides. So I'm going to line that up and trim. And hopefully you can see that those are the same amount or close to the exact same amount of, oops, there we go, the same amount right there. Okay, so I'm going to keep doing that all the way around, lining up the dots with the plastic guide. And hopefully you can see that took off the same amount on every piece. It's the same distance away from the dots, which means it'll fit perfectly inside. So you can see that has perfect border all the way around. Hopefully you can see that. So anyway, I wanted to share that tip with you because I love adding this layer on the inside. So I do have a couple of cards that I wanted to share with you. This one uses the same kind of idea. I had the, oh, let me zoom back out. Oh, there we go. So this card is the same idea. I used Designer Series paper and put it inside a piece of white cardstock using that same folder. This one is slightly different. I used the Scalloped Contours dies, but I used the largest layer, and then this inside layer is just inside it. So it's not the same. I didn't have dots to line up, but I just cut off the same amount all the way around. So I still was able to layer this piece perfectly inside that layer. Here's another one with that same scallop contour die that has the blue on the inside, so it fits just perfectly. And here's my last one where I stamped on the layer inside, and again I have the perfect layer. This is a little bit smaller scallop rectangle from the others, but so you can see how you can use it with any size of that. And again, here's the card that started it all, that inspired me to try something new. Because I just love how that looks in the background. I just love the layers. I like a lot of white layers, as you can tell on this card. So anyway, I just wanted to share that really quick tip with you. I hope that you found that helpful and that you'll use it whenever you are wanting to layer with any kind of scallop die. And you can do this with any die that has any stitching on it. I was thinking today that you could do it with the Tailored Tags dies, because those have stitching on them. I haven't done that yet, but I was thinking that would be another set of dies that would work really well with this tip. So anyway, I hope you found that really helpful. Thank you again so much for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye-bye.